Episode number 37. Hi, you're listening to the Careers Beyond Motherhood podcast with your host, Janine Esbrand. I'm here to help working mums like you to thrive in your careers and in motherhood. I share tips, strategies, and inspirational conversations with awesome women to help reduce the struggle in your juggle.
Time for say, Mummy.
Hello, and welcome to the show. It is awesome to be back behind the microphone and hanging out with you again on the show. How's your week been? How are you? I have had quite a different week this week because my husband's been away on a business trip, and this is the first time I have been flying solo as a parent for a significant amount of time. So he's been away for the whole week. So he will have been away for 6 days when he returns. And so I've had to do everything myself, and it's been challenging, it's been fun, it's been stressful, all of the things. And so I just want to take a moment to take my hat off to all the single mums out there and single dads out there who are doing parenting solo all of the time, because it is definitely not easy. It's hard enough when you have somebody sharing the load with you, but when you're having to do it by yourself, it is pretty intense. Now, on to today's show. So we are continuing our Create Your Own Flexibility series, where we are interviewing business women who have decided not to go back to the corporate world and instead build their own flexibility through running their own businesses. So we are talking to a range of different women over the coming weeks who have created different types of businesses and are at different stages of their business growth. So last week we spoke to Gwendy Kleeser, and she is a branding expert. So she shared with us all the things we need to think about when it comes to building your brand the right way. And today we have an awesome guest on the show. So we are speaking to Beth Gray, and she runs 3 businesses, not 1, not 2, but 3 businesses while raising her daughter in Panama. And one of her businesses is a law firm. So she runs a small law firm, and it is run on a flexible basis. And by that, I mean that the majority of her staff work flexibly, and the majority of her staff are mums. They're working mums, and they have a range of working hours that work for both them and for the clients of the firm. So it's just really interesting hearing from her how she went about setting up the firm in that way. And we also talk about the importance of boundary setting and maintaining your sense of priorities when you are a busy working mum. So there is so much gold in this episode. So without further ado, let's jump right in. Hi, Beth. Thank you so much for joining us today. I'm super excited to have you on the show. Please, can you introduce yourself and tell us all a bit about you?
Okay. Well, I'm Beth Gray. I'm one of those third culture kids where I've grown up and spent most of my life living in Panama, but my mom's English and my dad's Kiwi. And so I tend to feel that I could live anywhere in the world, but where in the world is home? Like I said, I spent most of my childhood here in Panama, which is where I'm living now. I did move back to New Zealand for a while with my parents and went to law school there in a common law system, which is very much like the English system. Mm-hmm. Then I moved back to Panama, supposedly on a 3-month holiday. I was only supposed to be passing by on my way to London because I was going to get a job bartending in London and do a year of, traveling around Europe. Well, as you can imagine, that didn't happen. I stayed in Panama and decided to do a working holiday here for 2 years. And then I decided to go back to law school here, and I got my second law degree in the civil law system, which is Napoleonic Code, like the Spanish and the French systems. Mm-hmm. And then, of course, I started practicing law here, and life just kind of happened. I didn't actually become a mother until 40. I have to say that by the time I decided to kind of settle down and become a mother, I was quite well established. So I haven't had some of the challenges that younger professionals have. But at the same time, there's been all kinds of challenges because I left it so late. So I had to do the whole IVF and everything else just to get pregnant. And that roller coaster ride of the hormone therapy, I don't recommend. I mean, I recommend it if you have to do it in order to have a child, but definitely that's a roller coaster ride for women. As a professional mother, I have my law practice, which is all women in my firm.
Awesome.
So it's a small firm, but like I said, it's all women. Most are working mothers. And so we have very flexible time because I understand perfectly that we all need the same flexibility. And the same flexibility I expect to have myself, I try to make sure that my staff have.
That is so refreshing.
And yes, I also have another company that's more of a consulting company that I started in 97. When I first moved to Panama, I set up a company just as a consulting company because I couldn't practice law yet. Mm-hmm. And I still have that company. And I am in the throes of setting up my own coaching business and finishing getting trained as energetics coach, which is very much a holistic relationship with your food coaching. Because I know for myself and my body, I've used food to cover anxiety, to cover emotions, to not deal with other things. And so something that's very close to my heart that I'm very much want to help other women with exactly the same challenges I've had. And I found it's a really beautiful thing just in my own personal life as I've learned it. I had a situation just 2 weeks ago where it was about 7:30 past bedtime for my little one. And she wanted ice cream. And I said to her, well, are you thirsty? Would you like a drink of milk? No. Are you hungry? Do you want a sandwich? No. Do you need a hug? Yes.
Wow.
And because of what I've learned, I was able to say, there's a need here that needs to be satisfied. Mm-hmm. And what need is it? And so you go through the different things that it might be, and you satisfy that need. But I find the beauty of having so many different skills comes in most handy, just even at home, just understanding there's a need here I need to fulfill. So that's where I'm at professionally, but it definitely touches into my personal life.
That's amazing. Like, there's so much in there I want to talk to you about. And some people often say to me, Janine, like, you're always doing so much. How do you do so many things? I'm going to be like, you need to see Beth. You need to speak to Beth. She's doing more than I'm doing. Like 3 businesses and a mom. Like, this is amazing.
It is, but at the same time, if you want something done, ask a busy person.
Yes.
They're the only one that's going to get it done. And it's because but you also have to have boundaries, Janine. I mean, you know this from your own life. The hardest thing for me is learning to say no, but there is so much freedom in that word.
Yes, absolutely.
So I would love at some stage while we're doing this podcast, could we talk about boundaries and no? Because I think that all of us need to be reminded about that.
Yeah. Absolutely, we will touch on that. One of the other things I just wanted to that flagged in my mind when you said initially, like, where you're from and not identifying with where's home, it just made me think, because I was born and raised in the UK, and my parents were also born here, but my grandparents are from Barbados, and so growing up, there's always been an element of like, I don't 100% belong. Like, if I'm in the UK, people always say like, oh, so where are you from? And I'm like, I was born here. And they're like, yeah, but where are you from? I'm like, I was born here.
Yeah.
Okay, where's your family from? And I'm like, okay, we're from Barbados. And then when we go to Barbados, they're like, you're English. Because the way that we walk, they can just tell how fast we walk too fast, so you're clearly not from here. So I totally relate with that element of like, I don't 100% fit in either place.
Yeah. Yeah, and that would be me. Here in Panama, everyone's like, so where are you from? And I try saying I'm Panamanian because I was born here, but I'm not. And I go back to England, and England is probably where I feel the most at home, and the most I stick out. like a sore thumb.
It's crazy.
Because I'm just so not English, but it's like, where's home? Where is it?
But it's cool. So you're a child of the globe. So it's fine.
Absolutely, yes.
So yeah, okay. So let's talk a little bit about the no thing, because I was talking about this the other day on a Facebook Live that I was doing, and saying that we can learn such great lessons from our children, because my son is the master of no right now. So there's so many different tones to it as well. So sometimes he's like no, other times he's like no.
Yes.
And
yes.
as a toddler, they just say it all the time, and you're just like, why are you saying no? But at some point in our journeys, we lose that ability to just say it and say it as it is, and we're always trying to couch it and feel bad because we're saying no. And I like to say to people, like the women that I coach and other people that I speak to, that you don't necessarily have to just say no and stop. You can say no and give an explanation. You can say, like, I can't do that for you right now, but instead I will do this. Or you can say, like, I can't do it, but maybe someone else can do it. You don't just have to say a straight no. But it is important at times to say no, because you just can't do it all of the time.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I know professionally in my law practice, it's really easy. Somebody comes to you with an area of specialization that's outside your area, and you automatically say no. I wouldn't take a criminal case. I know nothing about practicing criminal law. I wouldn't defend somebody in that, because they're probably going to end up in jail, and it will be my fault. Because I don't know anything about it. And so in that area, I would just automatically, without even thinking about it, have that boundary of no, this is outside my area. And yet somehow as women, and I do think it's more of a woman thing than a guy thing, we struggle with being able to say, no, that's not one of my priorities at this time.
Yes. Yeah.
And I know last year I was doing a lot of volunteering work at my church, and there was things going on that people weren't picking up the slack in the volunteer stuff, and it was just an expectation that I would, and I did until I burnt myself out, until I was just exhausted. And I sat down at the end of last year and I said, well, I want to volunteer at church and there's things I want to do, but I need to set clear limits and boundaries on this. And so I sat down and said, well, okay, what activities do I love doing? Do I really want to be involved in? And I sat down and I wrote a note to the board members and said, I want to volunteer in this, but please understand, I will not be picking up the slack in other areas. So you've got to find more volunteers. And it's been really wonderful, because anytime somebody asks me this year to say, can you do this program? I look at my list of things, and if it's not on the list, I say no.
Yeah.
Because I was really clear on, this is what I'm good at, and this is what I want to be involved in, and this is how many hours I have to give.
Yeah.
And I mean, we've all been in that place where we're empty, we're worn out, we've got nothing left to give. And and unfortunately we learned by the hard knocks that if we just keep on going and going and going, at some stage we're no longer being effective. And I've really discovered the last few years that the more time I spend just in silence and self-care, I'm so much better at so many things.
Yeah, absolutely.
Over the past few years, it's been a lot of, okay, me first, because I have so many people to look after and so many things I want to do. So look after yourself. And like you said, setting those boundaries, learning to say no, is about being very clear about what I want. I mean, if you ask a 2-year-old, do you want to eat carrots or peas or whatever, and they're not their favorite vegetables, they're very clear about no.
Yes, absolutely.
There's nothing that, no, I like this and I don't like that, so no. And like you said, we really do lose that as women and adults, and especially with expectations of other people. And I find in my own life, and I discovered this through a mastermind group that I'm participating, we do a lot of work with vision boards. So you do your vision board for the year, but then we do short-term vision boards of 3 months and then 1 month ones.
Oh, cool.
And the 1 month ones are very simple. Don't spend a whole lot of time on it, but be very clear about what you want to achieve on this month. And that's really helped me to set my boundaries for myself. Of somebody asked me, hey, can you take this on? And before answering, I actually have it inside my diary so that it's always on hand.
Mm-hmm.
And I flip to my vision board and I have a look at, does this fit in with this month? And if it doesn't fit in with this month, let it go.
Yeah, that is so good. That is so good to have those boundaries. And the thing is, with other people, when they're asking you to do stuff, they're just thinking about their to-do list, right? They're just thinking about what they need to do. And so they're just going to ask. So it's up to us to protect our time and say no, because people are going to ask. They have no idea what else is on your plate. They're just going to say. So if you don't say, we can sit there and get all upset that, oh, I've got so much to do and they're asking me, but they don't know what else you have to do. So it is important for us to keep checking in and saying, well, actually, what is on my plate this month and what do I want to achieve? So I love that, to say, okay, these are my focus. And I like to say, have three things that are your focus for this month that you would love to.
Absolutely. And that's exactly what I work it with.
Yeah.
I work it with 3 main points for the month. And then each one of those 3 points has 3 subpoints. And if I did those 9 things, I'm done. I'm good.
You're good. And you feel so much more like you're moving forward and you're making progress instead of trying to do a gazillion things and not getting anything done.
Absolutely. Exactly. And so, and that's just it, is that, it's so easy to not break it down into steps. It takes hard work to break it into steps, to actually say, well, okay, this is what I'm going to do. But when you finally, I don't know about you, I have this weekend to set aside for brainstorming for June, what's June going to look like? Mm-hmm. Because I didn't do it last weekend. And I looked at my schedule and I said, okay, I don't have time this weekend. Next weekend's fine. And I'll just sit down for an hour or so on Saturday or Sunday and look at the month and say, okay, this is what I can get down. And I have to say, May has been so hectic because I put so much on my schedule for May. I did that because the first week of June is school holidays.
Right. So
so I moved a whole lot of stuff that I was going to leave in June into May. And have I felt pressured? Yes. But I keep reminding myself that that's because the first week of June, I'm taking time off every single day to spend with my daughter.
Yes.
And so it was intentional. It was really intentional of, this is how I'm going to do this.
That's awesome. Can you speak a little bit more about your firm and how you set it up? Because I love the fact that you created an environment where people can work flexibly, because I'm totally over here trying to encourage organizations to adopt more of a flexible approach, because I find that women can be far more productive if they're allowed to work in a way that works around their family. So it'd be good as a business owner and someone who leads a firm and a team for you to talk about a bit about the dynamics and how it works.
Okay. Well, one of the things that I keep in mind is the fact that our client base is either in North America or in Europe. So having an early start for us works really well, because it means that with the European clients, get attended before lunchtime their day. Okay. And so, for example, I have one mom who starts at 6 a.m. and finishes at 1 p.m. And that's it. She doesn't do lunch hour. She just works straight through with a 15 or half an hour, 2 15-minute breaks. And at 1 o'clock, she's home before her kids get home so she can make lunch.
Awesome.
Works really well because of the European clients. I've got a lawyer who works immigration who does something similar. Our immigration department office opens at 7 a.m. So she's in the office about 6:30 so that she's at immigration by 7, and she's usually home by 3 o'clock in the afternoon. I mean, all of them have office phones. They have office laptops. So, if there's something they need to finish up, they can finish up at home.
Yeah.
But typically speaking, they're in the office before morning traffic starts to build up. So they're not having the problem of hitting traffic here, which in Panama City is really important. I know some people spend 2 to 3 hours getting to work in the morning and 2 to 3 hours to get home.
Wow.
And so this all started because I was trying to give staff flexibility so they could miss the traffic jam, so that they could, and so it actually started because of that, trying to say, you spending 2 hours in traffic is just not a good use of your time. Pick your hours according to how you can miss traffic. So I had some staff that preferred to show up at 10 in the morning and work till 7. The only thing I ask of the staff is choose what your hours are going to be, and then as much as possible, try to stick to that.
Yeah.
This is not complete flexi time where you can show up anytime you want.
Yeah.
Obviously, I'm flexible that you can ask me for changes because of X or Y situations, but I want some consistency of knowing that you're always going to be here at a certain time.
Yeah.
And so, basically, when I'm hiring staff, I let them choose their hours at the very beginning of the relationship. And then if they need to change that because situations change, then we do. And so typically, my office at 4:00, I'm the only one working still.
Wow.
Typically, because everyone's chosen earlier hours, because and also that works really well because government offices tend to open at 8 or 9.
Mm-hmm.
And so some of the staff are in the office, they've answered the emails, and they're at the government office at 8 a.m. when it opens. As opposed to getting to their office at 8 a.m. when the office opens. Mm-hmm. And then, you're at the government office at 10 when everybody else is there.
Yeah. Love it. So can you tell us a bit about your kind of dynamic with your daughter, like your home life? So you was talking about boundaries and stuff. So do you find that like spending that time with her on the holidays outside of...
For example, next week is midterm break here. So she'll be out of school for a week. And basically, I'm not taking the week off work, but what I'm doing for next week is that I'm not going to show up in the office any day before 10 or 11 a.m. So at 7, we'll go to the park or whatever. We'll go ride bicycles. We'll go do whatever we want to do. And at 9 o'clock or 10 o'clock, I'll be home and have a shower, and then I'll get to the office later. That takes into account the weather here because obviously we live in a tropical country, which is quite warm.
Yes.
I'm not going to take her to the park at 11 o'clock in the morning. That's just not going to happen. It's also playing with that sort of thing where I'm just doing what works for me as a mom, as well as, okay, well, I've got the business. So I've let everybody that needs to know, I'll be late every day. And that's what I'll do next week. There are schools holidays where obviously I take time off. And I had one year, not last year, the year before last, where I didn't have a nanny over the school holidays. And so she was in the office every day, or I was working from home. And I admit I kind of went crazy, and that will not be done again. It was just, I just wasn't on my game. Being full-time mom and trying to run the businesses at the same time, at least for me, didn't work. I am so impressed with mothers who are able to do that, but that's not me.
Yeah.
I need that boundary between my professional life and my home.
Yeah, I totally relate to that. I can get bits done, but nothing where I need to pay attention. If I need to look at something like a legal contract, or it can't be babies. Just, I need to.
Sometimes my best working hours are 9 to 11 p.m., but you can't do that every single day and still be on your game at 6 o'clock when they wake up.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, this has been so good. I have another question. I love inspirational quotes, and I love inspiring people and encouraging people. So have you got one that you like or that you have come across recently that you'd like to share?
Oh my goodness, I have so many, but which one of all of them? Okay, I'm going to go with this one that I have sitting in front of me on my desk, which is different from the one that I have on Facebook and everything, but I am a strong woman. I am wonderful. I am beautiful. I am powerful. I am humble. I am lovable, and I am fabulous.
Love it. Love it. Oh, we all need those reminders because we're always going so fast and doing so many things. So it's nice to have a reminder like that. I'm awesome. I can do it.
Yeah. So anyway, that's what I have stuck on my desk.
Oh, awesome. So if anybody wants to find out more about you and what you're doing in terms of your, your coaching business, your law practice, where's the best place for them to find you?
Well, probably easiest is on Facebook or I'm just finishing setting up bethgray.coach on the internet. And then my law firm, obviously, if you look up Beth Gray Lawyer, you'll probably come, you'll find me.
Okay, well, I'm going to put links to those anyway in the show notes. So if anybody wants to find out more about you, connect with you, then they can do that. But it's been awesome having you on and being able to have this conversation today.
All right. Well, thank you so much for the invitation. It's been lovely. And yeah, I'm so excited to be part of a growing tribe of women that are just owning their professional lives and motherhood. And I love what you're doing for women in that area because, we all need that kind of support. We all need that inspiration of we can do this. So thank you so much.
Thanks, Beth. It's been lovely having you.
It was so great speaking to Beth. I love the way that she runs her firm and the way that she manages her calendar so that she is making time for the important things, spending time with her daughter but also getting the things done that she needs to get done at her firm and in her other business endeavors. I'm just really inspired by how she manages to get everything done and to manage so many things. And it's great that we talked about boundaries and we talked about the importance of saying no. Now, if you want to connect with Beth, I will be sharing links in the show notes to her website. So head over to lightboxcoaching.com/episode-37 to grab the links. And you can also come on over to the Careers Beyond Motherhood community because Beth is a member of the group and she is an active member. And it's just been amazing because we connected initially on LinkedIn. And if you're not using LinkedIn for networking, you absolutely need to be doing that. And I have done some trainings on that topic and we'll probably do some podcast episodes on that soon as well. But yeah, we connected on LinkedIn and then she joined my group and now she's been a guest on the podcast and she's lovely. So I would definitely suggest that you go ahead and connect with her, whether that be via her website or in the group. So share with us what your key takeaways were from this episode. I would absolutely love to know. Now, I just want to take a few moments to talk to you about the Careers Beyond Motherhood Collective, which is my monthly membership site for women who want to build careers that they love whilst raising a family. So if you are in a place of indecision or wondering what your next step should be, then the collective could be for you. So if you want to either build or launch a business like many of the women you're going to hear from in the Create Your Own Flexibility series, or if you're deciding on what to do next with your career or you really want to strive towards a career goal, then the collective is going to be for you because there will be coaching, support, guidance, resources, guest experts, all coming in to help you to achieve your career goals. Because let's face it, when you become a mum, your values change, things shift, and sometimes some changes need to be made within your career, but it can feel overwhelming and you can wonder, well, how can I even get started? What should I do? What steps should I take? And so we are going to be supporting you with that in the collective. So the doors have been open for founding members and they're going to close on the 31st of August. So if you want to jump in now. We have some awesome things planned for the coming months for collective members. So head over to lightboxcoaching.com/the-collective for more information and to sign up. If you are loving the podcast, then please do head over to iTunes and leave a rating and review so that more women just like you can find and listen to the show and join the conversation. That's it from me today. I will be back again next week where I'll be interviewing another awesome mum business owner who has created her own flexibility and is doing awesome things as she balances work and family life. Have a great week and look after you and look after your babies. This podcast features music from Sound.